All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Let me know if you can, obviously, if you can hear me, but how it looks and if it's glitching on your side. So the one upside to not being monetized is that no commercials. The color does look off, but worry about that shit later. So again, thank you for joining the first official Angry Film Critic live stream. Whoa, thank you for the 5x5, guys. Flown Grown, Sarita, thank you for the 5x5. All right, thank you for the 5x5. Dobie, Adriana, Grit and Grace, Joe, Angelwood, RM Life, Eric, David, South Florida's Vizard, Christian Prepper, WTC, Mr. Landfill, Jeffrey, Loretta, Dan, Chris, thank you for the 5x5. Nora, Gary, thank you for the 5x5. Countess, and the Doggy's Guitar. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I do look ashy. I'm like, what the hell? It's the lighting, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? I'll figure it out later. It's kind of a blue tinge to it, right? Weird. I didn't even do anything. I don't think I did anything. Whatever. So, today, for those of you that know, this is the first official. We did have a test run last week, and that was pretty fun. But this time, what you got planned? So, Christopher, what do I got planned tonight? Just an open conversation on movies. Matter of fact, in the comment section, if you will, could you leave your favorite 80s movie? Now, I know there's a lot, and when people ask me what's my favorite movie, right out of the gates, I draw a blank. Carrie, Rolling, Kevin, the Warden, thank you for the 5x5. Raccoon Eyes, thank you for the 5x5. Wolf Den, thank you for the 5x5. What a dude. We could do that later on. We can have fun with that. Real Nigga Reviews. It's obviously when we talk about movies like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. What was the other one? South Central. That was a decent one. That wasn't bad. Blood In, Blood Out. American Me. That's when I'll do that. But Terminator, Goonies, anything with John Candy. Flown Grown. I was just watching. What was that? The Great Outdoors. And it's funny how like 80s movies, guys. Either it's going to stick with us, and when we watch it again, it's going to either have us reminisce about those times. We're going to watch that movie and go, this is still a good movie. Or we're going to look at it and go, what in the hell were we thinking? Again, I go back to Breaking 2. I put that skit, that clip in the post, or community board, if you will. You look at that now, man, you're like, how horrible is this movie? Die Hard 1988. Die Hard 1988, Christian Prepper. That is like, actually, I think that's the first Christmas action movie made. Now, there is a debate with Die Hard, whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not. Clearly, it's not a debate, but people will debate whether Rock is hard or not, right? But Die Hard's a good movie, and Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Yes, Lost Boys is another one that sticks with you. You look at that movie and go, like, it's just a timeless movie. Like, you can watch it. My kids watch it and go, it wasn't bad, right? I don't show them a lot of 80s movie because they look at some 80s films and they're like, why is it so old looking? I'm like, you fucking guys. But it's funny, even looking back on 80s films now, they did look old. They had that old film to it. Fright Night is a classic. Fright Night is a definite classic. Let's see. Terminator, I'll be back. So the original line to Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger was supposed to say, I'll come back. But they said some reason in his English, he kept saying, I'll be back. And that's when his English wasn't that great back then. Still isn't. But that's a fun fact about that line. It was supposed to be, I'll come back. But he kept saying, I'll be back. And then thinking about it, I'll come back doesn't have the same roll off the tongue as I'll be back. And there was something else with that saying. There was something really interesting about that specific saying that he was supposed to also say, like it was supposed to be a little longer or something like that, but it wasn't. And it wasn't nothing of a line. That's the craziness about it. He was just supposed to say, "I'll come back. I'll be back." And when they changed it, he just leaned as he leans into the camera. He goes, "I'll be back." It was supposed to be nothing. That being said, it became the most famous line ever. And after that one line, every movie that casted Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, they had to give him those one-liners. They were making one-liners for him for every movie he was in, or just about every movie he was in. So I appreciated that. After that, they were just like, "Oh my God, did you see how he said that? That was cool. We're gonna give him one-liners, hasta la vista, baby," right? And in Terminator 2, when he said that, people were like, "That was a hit line." You're like, but we've been saying that our whole lives. We've been saying, "I'll be back" and "hasta la vista," and he says it, and it's an international sensation, right? Go figure. Magnolia was good. Magnolia was good. I liked that movie. I thought it was pretty good. I just saw Less Than Zero for the first time, and it's funny, like, as for the first time as an adult. I think the last time I saw it, I was 14, and I saw bits and pieces. But as an adult, when you see a lot of movies now, for example, Do the Right Thing, when I saw Do the Right Thing, I was like, "Oh, man, all right, yeah, burn the pizza shop down," right? And then I was like, Mookie was a bit of an asshole, but he was a kid, so it was sort of relatable. Now that I'm an adult, I would have beat the balls off of Mookie with a baseball bat. There would have been no wiggle room. He would have been fired off the word go, first of all. As late as he was all the time, and Sal kept giving him a pass, he would have been hammered. I would have hammered that dude. There would have been no burning down my shop. Shotguns and Tech 9s and Mac 10s would have came out in that regard. We would have burned my shit down. All because Radio Raheem got choked out. And they looked at them and go, "Get the white people." And they burned their shit down. And then try to justify it in the movie, and there was no justifications for it. So yeah, Mookie would have got smacked around. That little fucking 120 pound soaking wet little African American dude, I would have been smacking him around like it was alright. True Lies was a good movie. What was it in True Lies? You're fired, right? Or some shit like that when he was on a missile. Some crazy. It was like, again, every movie had a one-liner, I think except Predator. I don't think he had a one-liner in Predator. Because he was quiet. The Predator started laughing, and then he took off and ran. Batteries not included. The Last Starfighter is still fun. Yes, The Last Starfighter in 2024 is still a fun movie. Special effects, not so much. Still a good movie. Enemy Mine, still a good movie. The Running Man, I swear we're heading in that direction. Colors wasn't bad. Colors still holds up somewhat. As far as the whole cop-gang relationship goes, it still holds up. Get to the Get to the Chopper. Sorry, Christian Prep. I forgot about that one. Matter of fact, there's a lot you could do with Get to the Chopper, right? You go on a bad date, she pisses you off. Get to the chopper. You at a nightclub, you take the chick outside, you find out it's fucking Broomhilda that looks like fucking Rosie O'Donnell. Get to the chopper. Get to the Chopper goes with everything. Your kids are coming back from fucking school. Get to the chopper. Overboard was good. I didn't like the remake. The remake wasn't bad, but it could have been a different movie. Overboard. They did a remake on that. We're definitely going to do remake night. So we're going to talk about a lot of the remakes they did from the 80s now. That's definitely going to be a thing. Thanks to Sarita, she emailed me a layout of the channel and how I should construct it. Thank God she did, because I was all over the place. And I was going to write out an organized what I should do with the channel, but I didn't even come close to the way Sarita lined it up. She lined it up pretty good. Like, she just gave me ideas on what to do. She actually gave me ideas on the Prepper channel, which, Sarita, if you can email me that layout again, that would be great. She should run a YouTube channel. The way she lays the shit out, it's pretty good. We're all going to die. Beverly Hills Cop. Patty S., the new Beverly Hills Cop was really good. They went old school. The Shining, here's Johnny. That's another one. Fucking favorite lines of the night. That's another one we'll do. Because why not? There's so many favorite lines from these 80s films. It's insane. Tragedies. Give me 2 seconds. Some of these ideas I'm definitely writing down. So we're definitely going to do the trivia, guys. We're going to have a trivia night. Probably once a month, because I can't afford to do it every week. But definitely once a month. You need a music channel. No, I don't. I'm not that good with music. Like, not at all. There's a guy in my firehouse. He's really good with music. He knows the ins and outs of, like, rap from the 80s and 90s. He knows, like, why that song was written, when they wrote it, when they written it, when they wrote it, who was originally involved, who wasn't. He knew about the Sugar Hill Gang, right? And, like, the last member that's, like, still active, and he knows like who was and when they passed away. He's good at that. He could start a YouTube channel on that shit. He would actually kill it because he is fucking really good. He's just really good with music. I'm not that good. Yo, last night, real quick, when I went for the walk, the amount of rats that were running around and water bugs, oh man. If I had a shotgun, I'd be killing every fucking rat and water bug I saw. K-Teacher's like, music my thing. Listen, if music is your thing, K-Teacher, start a YouTube channel on it. Especially if you're going to be talking about 80s and 90s music. Yo, you do well. A lot of us, old people, are looking for channels like 80s, 90s, whatever it's relating to. Fashion, movies, TV shows. We might talk about TV shows on here. I haven't decided yet. That's probably another endeavor in itself. Buckaroo Banzai, I like that movie. Buckaroo Banzai is still a good movie. It's still a fun movie to this day. Obviously, give or take, right? There's certain things you'll see in a movie and you're like, that wouldn't happen. But, like, for example, when in Predator, that Special Forces team spraying and praying, that's not how they operate, right? And those are like gorillas they put in that. And they wouldn't put anybody nearly as close to that crew of guys that they put in Predator that they would put in real life. Right? Those guys are like Vietnam era special forces in the 80s, which is like strange. Like even, not when you saw it, you thought it was cool. You look back on it now, the tactics they used, the way they moved through the jungle, the way they attacked the gorillas, you were like, yeah, that's not how it works. And now that a lot of us know more, you look at it now, you're like, all right, I wouldn't redo a whole movie for that, but yeah, there was definitely some bad points to Predator. But it's still a good movie. Fun to watch. Sarita, she said legend. Holy shit. You know what? It's funny. I like the movie, but I can see why it did bad. But it's still a great movie. I like it. That's one of those. Those are one of those like hidden gems, like you were talking about. I think Legend was a hidden gem. It just came out at the wrong time. If I'm not mistaken, Legend was up against a couple of other movies that year, and it didn't do too well. Alien Nation's still a good movie. I was watching it the other day. Still a great film. Fraggle Rock. You can go a lot of places with that. You're bleeding. I don't have time to bleed. Do you have time to duck? The Hitchhiker. Thanks for the ride, lady. That was a good one, The Hitchhiker. Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Those are my favorite. The others I like. And you know what? I never actually seen Star Trek the motion picture. The first one. I think I watched the first 5-10 minutes of it, and then like something happened, I got distracted. But I do want to watch that. Splash is still a good movie. It is still scientifically correct, if that makes sense. With the exception of the scene at the end with Tom Cruise swimming with what's her name in the water like that. Like all of a sudden he was able to breathe through her. I know that she kissed him, and that was supposed to give him magic to breathe in water, but scientifically they had her correct what her fins would look like. I thought that was pretty cool. And Daryl Hannah was fucking, holy shit. She was hot in that movie. The last time Daryl Hannah was hot was Kill Bill, when she played what's her name with the patch. Her fighting scene was on point. I liked it. Howard the Duck, Nord Technologies is a terrible movie. I just watched it. I was like, man, this movie sucks. I had to bear and grin it, because I had to finish it. I'm like, all right, let me finish this fucking movie. Because I'm one of those guys, if I do not finish a movie, it is super terrible. Super terrible. I will finish bad movies. I will sit there, grind my teeth, mad that I'm watching it, but I'm going to finish it. There are a few movies that I could not finish in my lifetime. I can't even remember what they were. But if you guys put it on the list, I'll be like, yeah, that movie was the one I didn't finish. There was one I even walked out of the theater on. I can't remember what that one was. I just remember I didn't finish it, and when it came on again, I wanted to kick my TV. Anyway, but loose, Clint Eastwood. Clyde the Orangutan. I vaguely remember that movie. I just remember the monkey and Clint Eastwood. Mario Brothers, horrible movie. Weird Science, awesome movie. Weird Science. No, what you call it? Mario Brothers. That was a bad fucking... Really bad. Harry and the Hendersons is still a good movie. Still a fun movie. Spaceballs, still a fun movie. Inner Space, still good. I think even scientifically it's still, being that I'm not a scientist and I look at it, I'm like, somewhat correct. Minus, there was one thing that they had wrong. Obviously, as scientists look at it now and go, that couldn't happen. He would have had to, what's his name? Martin Short's character would have had to have done something to get that small, to be that small. No, not Martin Short. What's his name? Dennis Quaid. Besides being inside something, there was something that was supposed to do to him to also make him shrink. But again, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, good movie, but he would have killed those kids in real life. Still a fun movie. Armed and Dangerous, still fun. From Dusk Till Dawn. You know what? With the Salma Hayek dancing scene, Salma Hayek in Desperado. That was her hottest. License to Drive. License to Drive is still a fun movie, but there were so many holes in it. You were like, come on, man. Yeah, but again, you have to think, I guess, like those kids. And is it me, guys? Or did a lot of those kids in those movies act a little older than they were? Like, when you watch, like, Lost Boys, the way that those kids handled it then, I don't know if the teenagers today can handle that situation. Like, if you did a role swap and you put today's teenagers in Lost Boys situation or Explorers with what is it? Not Joaquin Phoenix, River Phoenix, right? Or any Goonies, would they survive, or would they completely fall apart under stress and die? Right? I would love to see if we could do an analysis of switching teens around and seeing who would survive. Full Metal Jacket, Platoon, Hamburger Hill. I liked Hamburger Hill. Hamburger Hill was the shit. No. Anyone remember the criminal producer sci-fi from way back called Probe? Not at all. There was a TV show that when I had to look it up, and the only place I can find is on IMDb. It's called Help. It was about firemen, cops, and EMTs. It was, HELP was an acronym for Harlem East Side Life-Saving Patrol, I think. I think that's what it meant. Not a lot of people saw that show. I think it was one season. It was like in 84, 85. And that was also another show that, like, pushed me into being a fireman. Vampires don't have cry closets. No, they don't. I Come in Peace is still a good movie. Again, it's a sci-fi, so you could do a lot with a sci-fi and still get away with it. But Ice Pirates, not so good anymore. Except for the robots and the robot fighting scene when they released the black one. But other than that, Ice Pirates is still... It's an okay movie, but it wasn't as good when I was a kid. Now I watch it now and I'm like, No. Young Guns, still a good movie. Young Guns 2, still good. Can't get away from that. V was a good TV show. V had promise, but I don't know what happened. They wrecked it, is what they did. Backdraft. Backdraft was a great movie, but a lot of firefighters had an issue with Backdraft. So the problem with Backdraft was, there was a lot, but one of the issues were the scenes where Bull goes into a fire with his jacket open, no mask, fire's roaring, And, in real life, guys are like, yo, he would have burned to death. He would have had smoke inhalations, all this shit. And the problem with Backdraft is firefighters didn't see Backdraft as it was written. And it was written more like a love letter or a thank you to firefighters around the world. Ron Howard did the movie because he looked at firefighters as heroes, superheroes to be exact. That's why Bull had his jacket open and fought fires the way he did. And Bull was his Superman. And that's how it was written. But a lot of people look at Backdraft, a lot of firefighters look at Backdraft and go, that's bullshit, that would never happen. We know that. We know that in fires is blackout conditions. If there's ventilation, you could see something. But most of the times it's blackout. You can't see a fucking thing. Like Ladder 49, same thing. People were complaining about, why could you see in a fire? I said, do you want to see a movie where it's blacked out from smoke and all you hear is yelling, stumbling around, vibra alerts going off, radio transmissions? No, you want to see what firefighters do. That's why you eliminate the smoke. But in all actuality, yeah, you can't see a fucking thing 90% of the times. Right? If you stay low, you could see something, but not like it is in the movies. So again, Backdraft was... And it took me years to understand what Backdraft was. And I looked at it again, and he had an interview about how he liked Backdraft, and it was one of his favorite movies. And I was like, shit, man, it was a thank you. That's all it was. It was a thank you to firefighters. But Firestarter, the original is still good. The remake, not so much. Evolving Media. Saving Private Ryan is possibly one of the best war movies ever made. Storyline was good. Storyline was very good. The action was incredible. The opening scene was on point. I thought it was one of my favorite war movies ever. Nothing will beat that as of right now. I'm a retired firefighter. I think Ladder 49 is good. Is that the one in the time frame? No, I think Ladder 49 was 2003 or no, 2005 or 6. I mean, we can still talk about it in comparison to Backdraft, but it's outside of the time frame. But we're going to do modern movie talks as well. So I'm also going to talk about modern movies, but only good modern movies and not anything. Especially if they do remakes. If they do remakes, we're definitely talking about that. But tonight, we're just spitballing a lot of the things that are going to be done. So again, trivia night, I got to find a way to do trivias. We gotta, sorry. We gotta, I'm sorry, excuse me. I just got a text message. I gotta find a way how to do a trivia that people are gonna, it's gonna be equal at winning. I mean, I don't know. I know that, again, when you type in a word and you press send, but somebody sends it a split second after you, they could jump ahead because their internet might be faster than yours. Sound of Thunder is a good movie. I like that movie. We could talk about that when we talk about time traveling movies. What was the other one? My Science Project? My Science Project. And then there's a Manhattan Project, right? I think that's the one with John Lithgow, the Manhattan Project. And then My Science Project was I liked it. And you can compare that to Sound of Thunder. Emperor of the Sun. Right? Emperor of the Sun. Night of the Comet, I just saw that. You could definitely do a movie review on that. Definitely pointing out mistakes in movies. Like, Braveheart had the worst editing I've ever seen in a movie. And still won an Academy Award. That movie had the trashiest editing ever. I mean, like, the scenes where they're charging, and then Mel Gibson has a sword, nothing in his hand, sword. Tomahawk. Not a tomahawk, but it was like a tomahawk, a little axe. Then he's running with nothing in his hand again. Then a shield, no shield. Sword, tomahawk, shield. Running barehanded. Helmet on his head, no helmet. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? It was bad. Then the horses are running at them when they're about to pick up the sticks. And then they did a bad editing where the horses are running at him. Then their sticks are drawn. Then they're down. Then they have the shields up. Then the sticks are up again. I'm like, what the fuck? That was bad editing, and they still won an Academy Award because of the storytelling. But, we're definitely going to do true stories. Like, we're going to talk about Mask, right? What is it? Rocky Dennis. and what he looked like in real life. Now, I might do a video on that because that's harder to display on here. But yeah, and there's a whole story about him, obviously, and I'm gonna look into it. But I just coincidentally found that story about a week or two ago. I was like, what are the fucking chances? I'm gonna like do movie reviews on some of this, and here it is. The real guy, the real kid, is up. And the fact that the way he died, I mean, he was gonna die anyway, but like sort of committing suicide, but he could have gotten away with that because he was sick. Flight of the Navigator, that's a good. Paul F. saw The Outsiders a month ago. Did not like it. Did not like the movie at all. But I think the reason why a lot of people liked The Outsider, it was the adults from that era that liked it. So when I watched it, I was like, all right. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It wasn't anything to write home about. The Fly 2, two good movies. Well, two good movies. We're going to do really bad movies like Rat Boy. How many people have seen the movie Rat Boy? 1 for yes, 2 for no. I am curious. I'm pretty sure Christian Prepper's seen it, but everybody else, I'm interested in whether or not you guys seen that. The book is better. All right. He said the book is better to The Outsiders. Can you cover dog category one night? Well, like dog movies? Two. Wow. Looks like almost no one's seen Rat Boy. Was I the only fucking asshole that saw this movie? Got one view. Jack Burton said he saw it. All right. No. I am the only asshole. Pax. Okay. Mr. W. Brian. Yo, Rat Boy was it's an interesting movie. And it was played by a female too. Like I thought it was an actual boy inside the suit. It was actually a woman, a midget woman. But yeah, man, holy shit! A lot of people like, nope. You're like you five are the only assholes that saw that movie. Never heard of it. Again, there's going to be a lot of those movies I talk about as well. People are like, have you saw Tusk? Nikki Noodles, I saw Tusk. I'm going to tell you right now. If my friends left me alive after that, I would go out of my way to kill my friends. By the way, don't see Tusk. It's a fucked up movie. But that shit at the end, leaving him like that, like there was no doctors that could have put him back together. Yo, that's a fucked up movie. That movie is right up there with Human Centipede. Don't watch it. Rolling Thunder, that's a good idea. Someone, my son's mother just texted me. She saw Rat Boy. Okay. All right, so a 6 saw Rat Boys. Go fuck yourself. Who watches a movie like that? We do, because we watch movies all the time. My brother and I, we watch so many movies. Matter of fact, there used to be a guy who would sell, remember when they used to sell bootleg movies on the street? Some of you remember that. Some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. But they used to sell bootleg movies on the street, right? A VHS tape. And they had like the fake, the overly copied poster of the movie wrapped around the tape in a cardboard box or whatever. And this guy who used to, like, I guess, steal a lot of those movies, I guess he would re-record them, and whatever he didn't want or like or had an abundance of, he threw out. He would throw these tapes out over here down the block from where we live. And whenever we walked the dogs, we would find these tapes, and we brought them upstairs, the boxes, we bring them upstairs, and we watch a lot of movies, and a lot of bad movies we watched. 3 out of 15. Okay, very good. $5 bootlegs. Some people have no idea what those are. Like, bootlegs, what is that? Paper stickers, yeah. Desperately Seeking Susan. I gotta watch that again. I vaguely remember that movie. Then we got Creep Show 1 and 2. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Good movie. At least because I remember bootlegging movies. Bootlegging CDs, somewhat the same way. I still got a bunch of VHS tapes laying around here. Bad movies are pretty bad. But that's definitely going to be a topic. Someone had just said that earlier. That should be a topic. That should definitely be a topic for the night or a night. Movies so bad, they're good. Yeah, payphones. There was one payphone left in the city. I think it's gone. But matter of fact, no, I think it's still there. It's on West Side Highway? No. Riverside Drive? Riverside Drive, no. West End. Sorry. West End, downtown, around like 94th, 93rd Street, around there. There's a payphone that's still there. For whatever reason. Don't know. Tron was good. They're doing another one. They're doing a third Tron. Let's see where they go with that. 16 Candles, gay. So is Pretty in Pink. But whenever I mention it, girls are like, I love Pretty in Pink. I'm like, I don't remember being gay enough to watch that movie. And I think I watched it once or twice. It's obviously it's not a movie for guys, right? It's a movie for gay men and women, coming of age. Dan, I do not have a VHS player anymore, but I'm going to look for one. But I'm also trying to figure out whether or not I should put a filter over the videos I do with that 80s film look. I'm going to see if it's worth doing it, see if it's worth it to bringing it back. Exorcist is a classic, even to this day. But the third one or the fourth one they did, third one, sucked. I knew where they were going at the end of that movie. I was like, they're going in the direction they're going to ruin. And as soon as I said they're going to ruin, then they ruined the movie. I was like, motherfucker. The Money Pit. I think I just bought it the other day on Apple. So I have sickness when it comes to movies. I buy movies, right? So I had a horrendous DVD collection. I wind up giving away a lot of my DVDs the other day. I still have 400 to go. Now, in hindsight, I should have given them away. I should have kept those DVDs, and I'm going to keep the others that I have, and I'm going to sit on them for a little while and see if they're worth any money. But I got a sick collection of DVDs. So on Apple, I buy my movies. I don't know why. Don't ask me, but I buy them. It's one of those things. Ghostbusters 1, 2 were good. Definitely talk about those kind of movies. We'll even break down movies and actors, right? So obviously if an actor passes away, we'll talk about the movies that they did from the 80s, right? And even maybe later films. I still have a VHS copy of Braveheart. I still have a lot of old VHS movies, I think, unless my brother threw them away. But again, we used to go to a place called Blowout Videos here in New York, and we used to go there every weekend and buy a new movie that was coming out. And then we come home, we buy, our fast food and pizza or whatever, and we watch the movies. So, we're definitely going to talk about what we used to do on movie night. So, I guess the only way to do that is have like certain guests on talking about movies. I will have guests on here as well. One guest, I'm going to try to convince to come on here. We'll see. Hopefully he doesn't freeze up and he knows who I'm talking about. But everybody else that I've interviewed in the past, hopefully they're up for 80s movie, 80, 90 movie conversation. Stand By Me is a definitely coming of age movie. But it's funny. Stand By Me was what? The 60s, right? Early, late 60s. Being retold. And even kids in the 80s and 90s could relate to that movie. These kids today, they can't. They'll look at Stand By Me and go, it was that old back then? Like you guys used to drink out of a... But back then, even then, when we looked at Stand By Me, we could still relate to a lot of that shit. If you lived in the sticks, you lived out in the woods, or you just did adventurous shit as a kid, you could relate to Stand By Me. But a lot of kids today cannot relate to it because they don't do that shit. They don't do that sort of shit anymore. So that's the only disappointing thing about movies like that. Like it resonated with us. It doesn't resonate with the younger generation. Like, not at all. 50s. Kevin Grip said 50s. 50, 67. Oh, all right. Deep Cover, New Jack City. I just saw Deep Cover the other day. Still a good movie, man. Still a good movie. Get Woody Harrelson for Interview. I wish. Stripes was filmed at Fort Knox. Didn't know that. Deep Cover was the shit. It was. And the soundtrack was good too. That also helped Deep Cover. Deep Cover was a good movie on its own. Then the soundtrack, that was really good. Speaking of soundtracks, Dune, right? Was it 1983 or 4? Dune? I told you, I watched that Dune the other day. I can't watch it anymore. And that Dune was my favorite 80s film of all time. And then the new Dune came out and ruined that Dune for me. I can't even look at it the same way. And anyway, speaking of soundtracks, they hired Toto to do the soundtrack for Dune. And now that soundtrack is an awesome soundtrack. Back then, it tanked, along with the movie. Dune didn't do too well. Dune became a cult classic years later, but when initially released, it did bad. Menace to Society soundtrack was good too. That was a good soundtrack. There were a lot of good soundtracks. There was even like Ninja Turtles. They had a decent soundtrack for a retarded child, such as myself, when I watched it. I was like, oh man, this is a good soundtrack. Right? Now I listen to it, I'm like, man, what the fuck was that? Did I eat too many fucking lead chips off the wall? Like, what was going on? The Abyss. Now, movies like The Abyss we will talk about. The Abyss had 1,000,001 problems on that set. So much that a lot of the actors on that set didn't want to talk about the issues that were on there. And a lot of them hated James Cameron. Matter of fact, they never wanted to work with him again after that. He put them through the ringer in that one. Mike, The Crow did have a good soundtrack. That was another one that had a very good soundtrack. I love Toto. I don't love Toto. I think I have like 2-3 of the songs that I like. I'm not a big like band kind of dude, but songs definitely. Akira, we could talk about that. And obviously like where Akira derived from. There was a reason for that movie. And it did so well. And the live action, with so many Asian actors now, they can get away with doing Akira. And the special effects that they can do, they can get away with doing Akira now. I just don't know why they're sitting on a live action script. They had, at the time, or at least when I remember, they had 5 different live action Akira scripts ready to rock and roll. James Cameron was supposed to direct one of those scripts. And then the movie just kept getting pushed back, delayed, and then not being made. There's a new script in the works right now. Let's see where they go with it. Sharknado, my favorite bad movie. Oh, man. I love Sharknado. I mean, and the craziness about it is it became popular because it was so bad. Such a bad movie. I watched it. I was like, this is the shit, you know? This is so fucking terrible. It's awesome. Sharknado. They have a District 13 Part 2. You didn't know that. The Golden Child. They could definitely do a sequel with The Golden Child. But the only problem is the kid who played the Golden Child was actually a girl. So that would be the only problem. Bringing her back or him back would be a problem. Never seen Sharknado? Watch that shit. Watch it. It's so bad it's good. And then they got even worse as they went along. They got to like Sharknado 5 and it was Sharknado, the Final Destination or whatever the fuck it was. It was the final battle. It was like, they went pretty far. Yeah, I like James Cameron as a director. As a person, he is a dick. Now, James Cameron was always a dick. He has been a dick in Hollywood since he was born. He fell out of his mother's vagina being a dick. Now, he was an asshole on the set of The Abyss. He's an even bigger asshole now that he's like big, right? He made an asshole comment a year ago about toxic masculinity. I was like, yeah, you know, the men shouldn't have that amount of toxicity in them. And I'm like, what? This is the motherfucker who cursed at people, browbeating them, bullying them. You know, he did everything under the sun you can think of, and he was talking about you shouldn't have toxic masculinity. This is James Cameron. He's an asshole, but he's a good asshole when it comes to This movie's in it. Reservoir Dogs, classic. They were supposed to do a spin-off of Reservoir Dogs. So, what's the character's name that was cutting off the cop's ear? And Vince from Pulp Fiction, played by John Travolta. They were supposed to do a movie together. A hitman movie, right? Those are two hitmen, but they were animals about being hitmen. They weren't like covert, and they were savages. And they were supposed to do a movie on them. Both of those two characters, what's his name? James Madsen, I think it is, or something Madsen, and John Travolta were supposed to team up and do this movie, and it never happened, right? It was in between or right before, what's his name, what is it, Mr. Black, Mr. Pink, or whatever it was, gets shot trying to burn the cop. It was right before that incident. So, and they never got around to it. Vince Vega. All right. Right. Vince Vega. And what was Mr. White? Thank you. All right. And those two were brothers, and they were supposed to do something, and they never got around to it. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Bad. You know what? I just saw Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yes, if you are an 80s child, it was an awesome movie. If you're an adult, the reason why I don't like Pee-wee's Big Adventure anymore, because I'm a grown-ass man. I'm watching another grown-ass man act like a fucking complete tard. That's why I couldn't. I watched the movie, I'm like, this guy, it's just a grown man acting like this. Like a feminine child. I couldn't watch it. Now, keep in mind, guys, Pee-wee's Big Adventure was the best written screenplay by way of it stayed on focus with the storyline. It never once deviated from the storyline. The storyline was the bike. I got to have the bike. I got to get the bike. The bike is my purpose. The bike, the bike, the bike. No deviations. That's what made it one of the best screenplays written. And everything was incorporated around the bike and not the other way around. So that was something good. Tempers or Tremors? You meant Tremors. Tremors is still a good movie. Yeah, okay. Oh, Grown-Ass Man Sharknado was great. But, yeah, listen. So, again, guys, the purpose of this channel is we're just going to have fun. That's all. Vince Vega and Vic Vega. Jason Schmidt, thank you for coming through. Harley Davidson, The Marlboro Man. Such a bad movie, but so good. So good. They can actually redo that one. And I wouldn't have a problem with it. Harley Davidson, The Marlboro Man, they can actually redo that, and I would absolutely have zero problems with it. Fast Time at Richmond High. You know what? I wasn't a big fan of that movie. Back then, now as a kid, now as an adult, wasn't a big fan of that movie. Space Cowboys, I like that one. The old dudes going into space. We're the old people going into space now, ladies and gentlemen. But, yes, so this channel is about having fun. That's all we're going to do. We're going to try to have as much fun as we possibly can. Getting away from the political realm. As you guys know, the one rule here is no prepping, no political talk. Unless we talk about a movie that talks about politics, which I'm going to try to stay away from. Unless that's the only time. But other than that, no politics, no prepping. We talk about movies, we talk about actors and their bullshit. I don't care about the actor's political stance. Don't care. We're not going to talk about that on here either. Right? We're going to talk about actors being assholes on a set of movies, like Val Kilmer was on the majority of his movies. But we're not going to talk about the political stance of George Clooney, for example. Don't care. We talk about them in their glories as actors or actresses. Romancing the Stone. Paul from Eugene. I was watching that the other day. I was like, okay. Like, I can see why the movie was good back then, but not so much now. The interest wasn't there, right? So, like, a lot of the movies had our interest, but I think a lot of us, we watch so many good movies as we get older because, you know, the storylines get better, the special effects get better. So when you look back on certain movies, you're just like, yeah, it's not the same anymore, right? That action just wasn't there. Tremor has the prepper. Right, Tremors has the prepper of all preppers. And he was prepared for that. But again, outside of movies like that, there's no need to bring it up. Being There is a political movie. There's a few political movies I'm going to try to stay away from, other than I might talk about political movies like on 9/11. I might talk about Flight 93 and World Trade Center with Nicolas Cage, right? And what's his name? Penna. The fuck that kid's name? The other cop that was in there. There's a bunch of actors in that movie, by the way. But outside of that, Ghost of the Darkness. Is it Ghost of the Darkness or Ghost in the Darkness? With Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer, right? The one about the lions. Lady in White. That was a good one. Who the fuck was in that? The kid with the big ass ears was in it. I can never remember his name. That was the first movie, murder mystery movie my father took us to that I enjoyed. Lady in White. Burt Grummer. Point Break. The Pianist. I never watched that. I think I'm going to have to when I get around to talking about it. Back to School, 1986. I had my kids watch that movie. They actually enjoyed it. Ghost and the Darkness. All right. Ghost Dad. Is that with Bill Cosby, right? Or what was it? Leonard Part 6? That movie that was such a bad movie. It was so bad. My parents were like, this movie is the worst fucking movie ever made. The worst. Leonard Part 6, and everybody was like, where's the other 5 parts of the fucking movie? You just started with that one. That was bad. That was a really bad movie. Holy shit, man. That was horrible. I watched it twice, like an idiot. I watched it twice. Sort of like Ratpocalypse. Why would anybody watch Ratpocalypse twice? Because I'm a glutton for punishment when it comes to shit like that. Sitting there going, this is a bad movie. Why am I watching this? Why are people turning into rats and you have to stay really still when you turn into rats, right? So, like, instead of, like, having... They had a 6-year-old do the special effects of Ratpocalypse. When they turned into rats, you had to stay still. You had to be like... And then, like, they put a layer over your face where you couldn't move, and the layer turned into a rat. That was horrendous. Action Jackson, still a good movie, man. Carl Weathers, man. That was... I'm surprised they didn't do a part 2 to that one, or 3. That was a good fucking movie. He had a silly one-liner in there, too. Forgot what it was. Somebody's going to say it. But Action Jackson's still a good movie. Vanity, right? She was hot. Boy, was she hot. I remember back then, I think that was like my first crush, Vanity. She was like the hottest thing since sliced bread, man. Since sliced bread. Whoops, sorry. Trying to fucking reach for something. But yeah, she was absolute. And then she, became a born again, got sick, and then fucking unfortunately died in Georgia somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Or South Carolina, somewhere hot. But yeah, we will also talk about tragic stories of some of these actors as well. Corey Feldman, Corey Haim comes to mind about tragic ends, man. And what was her name? Amanda, from Can't Buy Me Love. It's another tragic story. Challenging and scary. Yeah. I mean, Vanity was Vanity in... No, that was Apollonia. That was in Purple Rain. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Crow, Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing was my favorite. Domino the movie. Is that the one about the bail enforcement agent? No, she just died a few years ago. Yes, the kid from Poltergeist will do a thing on her as well. But a lot of those videos are going to take longer to make because obviously I got to get the information. I got to edit more. I got to do more editing for shit like this. Yeah, Corey Feldman or Hames? Isn't Hames the one that died? Feldman, yes, you're right. Corey Feldman is as well. Guys, whatever you do not look up Corey Feldman's music career on Instagram. Don't fucking do it. Do not do it. I saw one song that he sang that was horrendous. Out of reflex or programming, if you will, I liked the post. With that, I can't get away from this fucking Corey Feldman, his music, his shitty music. He has the world's worst, shittiest music in the world. I've never seen anything so bad. He's like, you gotta step into the light and get away from fear and just sing because people won't understand it. I don't understand it now. I'll never understand it. He has the world's worst. This man, you don't understand. You gotta take my word for it. It is fucking... It doesn't even make sense. And then he keeps dancing like Michael Jackson with the same fucking move. You got... Yo, it will give you a fucking stroke. You know, so someone said it. Dumpster fire singing. Thank you. It's fucking worse than that. It's like what... You don't understand. Just don't do it. But it's fucking bad. And the craziness about it is he has a following. When he does a concert, people fucking show up. Holy shit. His own mind. Feldman is a legend in his own mind. Oh my God, man. Yeah, that word Furlong went down that rabbit hole too. Copper Indio, Nightbreed was the shit. That movie made now would, I think, with the special effects and everything we have, would excel. That movie was really good. Even not watching it now, I watched it like 5 months ago. I'm like, this movie's still good. Storyline's still good. The monsters are still good. With special effects, you could have did more monsters, but still a good movie. Someone said, okay, going to go watch now. Good luck, man. That was fucking bad. Oh my God. And the music and the costumes he's wearing, and the people in the band that are with him wearing the silly ass costumes. I'm like, what the fuck, man? You gotta see. Don't see it. Don't. Because once you hit like, he's gonna fucking infect your Instagram page, man. I can't get rid of the dude. Every time I open it up, it's Corey Haim doing some shit with his hands. I'm like, what is he doing? And then he's singing and he's like, yeah. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Incoherent singing, offbeat, the most whitest fucking singing you can ever think of. I mean, super white. Like Chad works at a bank white on a Tuesday morning, white. Drinking lattes and fucking asking for fucking the tallest Starbucks drink he could think of with his tweed sweater on, fucking white. White picket fence white. That's how bad the fucking singing is. I can't get over this shit. I'm like, holy shit, man. And they're like, yo, he did a fucking a song and he repeated the same line. He had to repeat the same line at least 200 times. He just kept repeating it. And I'm waiting for this shit to end. But like a fucking asshole, I'm watching each of his videos to the end. And I guess one part of me is like paying him that respect for being like the 80s actor and shit like that. I don't know. Don't do it. Stars Fury said Mo Money. Mo Money is a good movie. It's still a good movie to this day. It has a good storyline, shitty acting. Stacey Dash, hot as fuck. But still a good movie. Terrible acting. And they grew up to be pretty decent actors now, which is pretty interesting. When you watch Mo Money now and you look at them, you watch Mo Money now and you look at them now, you're like, interesting. But yeah, don't do it. He said you weren't high enough. I don't ever get high. So yeah, no fucking way, man. Corey Haim is a terrible fucking singer. And the thing is, like, yo, oh shit, so a few months ago, he was on somebody's talk show. What's his name in Stand By Me? The fat kid. He's in shape now. What the fuck's his name? He's on a TV show, a morning show. And he had Corey Haim come on. And now, I don't know if he had Corey Haim come on out of pity or what was going on. But yo, Corey Haim sung the worst song you could ever think of. And when you don't think it could get any worse, he sings one worse than that. But this song was bad. And he's singing out of sync, out of tune, dancing like Michael Jackson, like he's having a fucking stroke. I'm like, and even, what's his name? Again, that kid from Stand By Me, the fat kid, I forgot his fucking name. He's on the show like, what the fuck? He was also in Sliders. He was also in the TV show Sliders. Come on, stick dick, let's go. Sometimes my phone, I want to bounce it off the wall. Jerry O'Connell, thank you. Thank you, Steel and Tree. Nice one. Jerry O'Connell. Yes, Grit and Grace. Him. He has a morning talk show. And Corey Feldman was on it doing his dancing bullshit. Yo. Yeah, Corey Haim is dead. Corey Feldman is still alive, singing and killing us with his music. Every time he sings, a brain cell dies. That's horrible. You should stay in your lane. Someone says, I saw it. K Teacher said, I saw it. Yeah, right? You can't unfucking see that, man. It was the Today Show, right? For Doggy Guitar. It was for the Today Show. That's the show it had to be. Horrible. Oh my God, man. Yo, I'd rather see Milli Vanilli fake their shit 1,000 times than watch this fucking dude sing and dance again with his fucking stroking head. I'm like, what is that? Who? This motherfucker. Yo, but again, he has an audience. There might be 100 people or 200 people, but he has an audience. People showing up with their signs, flashing their titties. Why would you flash your titties to him? I don't know. Nonetheless, they're doing that shit. That's bad, man. Really bad. Just save yourself. Because I can't get any of those songs out of my head. But I tell you this much. If I start singing any of those fucking songs, even in passing, just put a bullet in the back of my head and call it a day. Roll me up on the carpet and leave me on the side of the highway. Because fuck that. I'm looking up to the night so I can have a... Yo, it's bad. You know the craziness about it is, Evolving, is that when you watch it, you sort of feel bad for him because it's bad. It's really bad. I can't explain how bad it is. I'd rather watch Ratpocalypse 8 more times than listen to him sing. But because he's an 80s dude, I watch it and I feel bad for him. And then a brain cell dies and I become stupider for watching it. But what must be more stupid is the fact that the people, his band in the back, they must be thinking as they're playing their guitars or the piano, how stupid do I look on stage with this man? You know, so whatever. But we're not going to talk about 80s bands. We're not. We'll talk about like maybe Jared Leto. Smack. Oh. Anyway, Willow. It was Peck. Follow along, Peck. That was a derogatory term back then. Peck. You're crawling with brownies. I watch zombie strippers. Well, yeah. Fifth Element's still a good movie. You can watch it now. Outside of the gayest wardrobe in movie history was the Fifth Element. I don't know what Luke Benson was going for, but I don't know what he was going for, but he was definitely going for the gayest outfits in the world. And he got it. He got it. We watched Trainwrecks too. It's curiosity. Yeah, I guess, Scrappy Cat, it's definitely curiosity. Curiosity killed my brain. Couldn't get away from it. Holy shit. Now I pronounce you Chuck and Larry was a stupid movie. The Talk. Yes, Lazarus. Thank you. Jerry O'Connell on The Talk. And I guess because they're friends is why he had them right, because they were in Stand By Me together. Jerry O'Connell and Corey Feldman. So maybe that's why. I mean, maybe they're still, friends for all this time, but still. Donald, I just saw Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead last month. It's still a good movie. Not very believable, but still good. Christine Applegate, holy shit. The hottest thing since sliced bread in that movie. And then you look at her now, and even her being sick, and now she's still hot, which is crazy. I feel bad for her now, though. Obviously she's sick and she's not doing good, and she knows she only has a couple of months left, or a year or so left. Wow, that's a hard one. Flown Grown said, Corey's video or Gorlock video? I might have to go with Corey on this one. I can't stomach Gorlock. Gorlock is disgusting. I'm sorry. That's not a human. That can't be. Quigley Down Under. I never got to see that in its entirety. Alan Was it Alan Quartermain? That was a good movie. I like those movies, like those adventure movies. Adventures of Ford Fairlane, still a good movie, still funny. Jack Burton says she's sick. Yes, Jack Burton. Christina Applegate is sick. I forgot what she's suffering from, but somebody will put it in here. But yeah, she's undoubtedly sick. Unfortunately. It is what it is. Yes, Vanity was also in The Last Dragon. Yes, you're right. She was beautiful in that, but just to think about all the bullshit they put her through, the drugs, the fucking... That sucks, you know? Dan Rose, I'm going to work on a rating system. And that's because you came up with the idea, not me. But I will definitely work on a rating system for the channel. Writing this so I don't forget it. Rating system for movies. Favorite 80 lines of the night, and then rating system for movies. Thank you for the idea. Oh, Steel Tree, my hair when they were falling. Holy shit. Which I watch it now, right? And the part where they're all falling, he's like, my hair. I was like, that was fucking awesome. That was fucking great. They're all fucking screaming. And Freddy Krueger, Robert Engels was in that movie, right? Playing the bad guy. And Zuzu Petals. I saw a picture of her recently. I can't remember, but I remember thinking, not hot anymore. Bruce Leroy. Supposedly they're working on another Last Dragon. Supposedly. But they've been working on The Last Dragon, or it's either a reboot. It was supposed to be a sequel, but a lot of the people are dead, right? Vanity's gone. Bruce Leroy's brother, his little brother, he's dead. What's his name? Sho'nuff, he's dead. The only two are still alive, or even the big guy, the bodyguard, I think he's dead as well. From Eddie Arcadian, his bodyguard, I think he passed away. I think Eddie Arcadian and what's his name are the only two who are still alive, and the mother. I think the mother's still around. The father died, if I'm not mistaken. Scarface. I hate Scarface. I don't want to talk about it. That was such a shitty movie. People are like, Scarface is good. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a horrible fucking movie. Scarface is... Tony Montana, his fucking bullshit Cuban accent, ugh, it was fucking gross. I didn't see Scarface in its entirety until I was about 22, 23. Maybe 27. And I looked at this movie, and I'm like, people were bragging about this shitty movie? Fucking New Jack City was better than that. Tony Montana, say hello to my little friend with his shitty Cuban... I'm gonna get started. Okay. So, yeah, man. Fuck that movie. Seriously, fuck it in the ass. With a spiked dildo. That was garbage. Tron 82, The Toxic Avenger. We're definitely going to talk about 80s B movies as well. We have to. There's so many 80s B movies like Toxic Avenger, Basket Case. What was the other one? Chud. The Stuff. Right? Some really bad 80s movies, but it was still good. 80s. These are the categories. Other categories I'm adding. I never seen Easy Rider. Maybe I should. Al Pacino's Heat. We could talk about that. Again, that's a more modern movie. So when we talk about modern movies, anything after... Wait a minute. Was Heat in the 90s? I think Heat was in the 90s. But, anything after 2000, or 99, sorry, anything after 99 will be considered a modern movie. Night of the Comet, they're definitely going to do that one. Dogs in Space? Never heard of it. Police Academy, you got to talk about Police Academy 1 and 2. 3, 4, 5, and 6, I think there was a 7. Cocoon, 1 and 2. Got to talk about those two. I got to play to the old people that might be watching on here. A lot of you guys could relate to Cocoon now. When it came out, you couldn't. Now you can relate to it. Fucking Cocoon, all the old people having a good time and playing basketball, and when the guy slam dunk and he did that horrible special effects of him going through the air. Yeah, that was pretty bad. They lost money in that movie doing that special effects alone. 1984. I saw 1984. Would give 2 Fs about the movie. Your rating system would give 2 Fs about the movie. It's not a bad idea. Real Men, funny movie. How old is old? Anything over, what am I, 40? I'm 47. Anything over 48 is old. So yeah, I would consider that old. But anyway, guys, we hit the hour threshold. I could sit here for fucking a long ass time doing this shit. Cohen and Tate. What's the other movie? Oh, The World According to Garp. I never seen that, but everybody tells me that was a good movie. I've never seen that movie. Red Dawn 1984. We would definitely do a comparison of Red Dawn 84 with the newer one, which was garbage, by the way, and had potentials. But we're going to talk about the fuck ups of the recent Red Dawn. What was that? 2016 or 14 or whatever it was, right? Real nigga. No, it's called what's it called? The Real Nigga Reviewer. Yeah, that's what we're making on that. Again, we'll talk about certain movies that I get on. Someone said that though. What was it? R&R, right? Real Nigga Reviews. It'll be sick. Yeah, it should be fun. Night of the Creeps, Sarita. I just saw that a few months ago too. Still a good movie. And it's funny though, right? I guess like now when directors do movies like that, I wonder if they look back on it and go, we should have did this, we should have did that. We should have went down this path instead of this way. I mean, I'm pretty sure they do, but Night of the Creeps was good. But like the scene with the cop, right? What was it? What's his line? That'll make you famous. That was Billy the Kid. Shit, I forgot the line. But that line at the end, and then the cop surviving that, that was interesting. And they could have easily got away with the sequel, but they didn't. They were supposed to do a sequel, and they didn't. Who knows? When a Stranger Calls was a real good movie. That's a real good movie. All right, guys. So, again, going off the air. We'll see you guys probably next week, if not the week after next. This is not going to be every week. This is most likely going to be 2 times a month. If it picks up momentum, or I just have a lot of shit to talk about, a lot of content, then it'll be once a week. But every Wednesday, it'll be rough. That's 3 live streams. No, that's 5 live streams a week. And I can't promise that I'll be able to do this every Wednesday night. That's why it'll be once or twice a month. Just for that reason alone. If I retire or, I'm out on medical leave or something, then I'll do this, I'll try to do this every Wednesday when I can. Other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for reaching out. Guys, if you are interested in being a moderator, email me at angryprepper@yahoo.com. Thank you. Other than that, I have a couple more mods that I want to add. I think I'm only going to add a couple more. I didn't want to go with the same mods from the same channel because I don't want to overrun them with my bullshit. That being said, sorry. While I have you on. All right, good. All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. Pootie Tang versus Dirty D. No, not going to go there. Thank you, guys.